Dear friends, now I welcome you to the next orthopedic lecture session, that is foot injuries. In foot injuries, we are going to learn about the tarsal and metatarsal bones. In this lecture session, I will be covering the calcaneum bone. So here our learning objectives are: first, applied anatomy of the calcaneum, then mechanism of injury, then types of calcaneal fracture, thereafter principles of the management of calcaneal fractures, and finally complications of the calcaneal fracture. So in applied anatomy part, one should know how the foot looks like in the lateral projection, oblique projection, and antero-posterior projection. We should know how the different tarsal and metatarsal bone articulating with each other. If you look at the lateral and the oblique projections, that is the first and the second diagram, you can see that how the talus on the top is articulating with the calcaneum below. And if you look at the antero-posterior projection, that is the third diagram, you can see that how the talus is articulating with the navicular in front and calcaneum is articulating with the cuboid in front, and in turn this navicular is articulating with the three cuneiforms, and these cuneiforms and the cuboid all together they are articulating with the metatarsals, and thereafter phalanges are there. So you should know that a total of 7 tarsal bones are there in the foot, that is the talus, calcaneum, navicular, cuboid, and 3 cuneiforms, and total of 5 metatarsal bones are there, and each toe has 3 phalanges, proximal, intermediate, and distal, but for the big toe which has total of only 2 phalanges. So now we can move to the next slide. Now coming to the applied anatomy of the calcaneum, as you all know that calcaneum sits under and supports the talus. I advise you all to go and revise the anatomy of the calcaneum so that the orthopedic concept of the calcaneum will become more clearer. Basically, you should know about the calcaneal tuberosity, the lateral surface of the calcaneum, sustentaculum tali, and anterior and posterior talar articular surfaces that are the most important landmarks which are present on the superior surface of the calcaneum itself. Well, before moving ahead to mechanism of injury, we should know some important details related to the calcaneum. The first and foremost here is the radiographic projections. As we all know that the two important radiographic projections are antero-posterior and lateral. There is a little bit of difference here in calcaneum. Lateral projection is very much clear, which you can see in the first X-ray, but we cannot take an antero-posterior projection because all the metatarsal, tarsal and phalanges will overlap and it won't be a meaningful projection. We always require a second projection, second orthogonal projection for clear detailing of the injury. So apart from the first lateral projection, the second required projection here is axial view, which you can see in the second X-ray or radiograph posted here. So the two important radiographic projections of calcaneum are first lateral view and second axial view. There is no antero-posterior or oblique projections are there as far as calcaneum is concerned. Now, after the radiographic projection, the second most important thing is that knowledge about calcaneal angles. So there are two very important calcaneal angles are there which you should know about. They are also very important from your pre-PG exam point of view. So the first one is calcaneal angle or tuberous joint angle or Bohler's angle. So calcaneal angle or Bohler's angle or tuberous joint angle, they all mean the same thing. Different textbooks use different terms to describe this calcaneal angle, but they all mean the same thing. Exact words doesn't matter, but your concept should be clear. This angle lies between two lines tangent to the calcaneum on the lateral radiograph. The first line, that is line 1, is the tangent to the superior edge of tuberosity, that is between points 1 and 2. Point 1 is the most cephalic part of the posterior process of calcaneum, and point 2 is the highest point of the posterior facet, and line 2 is between points 2 and 3. Point 3 is the highest point of the anterior process. The normal value for this angle is between 20 to 40 degrees. Some books also say normal value as 25 to 40 degree. A value less than 20 degree can be seen in calcaneal fractures, which is because of the collapse of the calcaneum. However, a normal Bohler's angle does not rule out a calcaneum fracture. As far as your understanding is concerned, always remember that a calcaneal fracture resulting in collapse of the calcaneum leads to decrease in the Bohler's angle. Now, second important angle related to calcaneum is angle of Gissan, or otherwise also known as critical angle of Gissan. Its normal value is 130 to 145 degrees, whereas some books also mention the Gissan angle to be normal around 120 to 145 degrees. This angle is also drawn on the lateral view of the calcaneum. It is formed by the tangent to downward and upward slopes of the calcaneum superior surface. Its numerical value increases when there is a fracture of the calcaneum leading on to the collapse of the posterior facet. Now remember these two important points regarding Bohler's angle and angle of Gissan. Bohler's angle is an acute angle. Its normal value is 20 to 40 degrees, whereas angle of Gissan is an obtuse angle. Its normal value is 130 to 145 degrees. If there is a calcaneal fracture leading on to the collapse of the posterior facet, Bohler's angle further goes down, further decreases, and in case of angle of Gissan, it also represents the collapse of the posterior facet, and here in calcaneal fractures, its angle further increases. So, for the sake of memorization, remember the B, that is alphabet B for Bohler's angle, come before the G of the angle of Gissan, and B has a lesser numerical value and it further decreases in calcaneal fracture. An angle of Gissan has a higher numerical value and it further increases in case of calcaneal fractures. Now coming to the mechanism of injury, you should know that calcaneum is the most commonly fractured tarsal bone, and most common mechanism of injury is fall from height. Here the patient falls from a height like a ladder or from building or a tree and lands on one or both of the heels. The calcaneum is driven up against the talus and it is split or crushed. The other less common mechanism is avulsion fracture following traction injuries of the tendo achilles or the ankle ligaments. And even lesser common is comminuted fracture of the calcaneum resulting from a direct blow. Now you should also know a very important concept associated with calcaneal injuries, that is rule of two injuries. You must be aware of the very famous rule of two associated with orthopedic injuries, that is two views, two joints, two limbs, two occasions, and two injuries. Here, the concept of two injuries associated with calcaneum fracture you should know. That is, whenever calcaneal fracture is diagnosed, especially after fall from height, one should always doubt about the presence of other injuries along the longitudinal axis of the human body. So, it has been observed that around 20% of the calcaneal fractures are associated with injuries of the spine, pelvis, or hip. So, the injury of the spine, pelvis, or hip is the second injury which may be hidden along with the calcaneal fracture, and one should take active steps to diagnose this second hidden injury. Now, coming to the fracture part, if any undisplaced fracture of the calcaneum is there, one should manage it by conservative means. That is, first slab so that the swelling subsides. After 7 to 10 days, a cast may be applied. One unwritten rule of thumb is that err towards the conservative treatment. So, as far as possible, try to manage the calcaneal fracture by conservative means. Here, X-ray is showing undisplaced extra-articular fracture of the calcaneum, and which is being managed by below knee slab, which you can see in the photograph. Now, other way of classifying these calcaneal fractures are extra-articular types and intra-articular types. Here, articular means the joints which are formed by calcaneum. As you must be aware that calcaneum takes part in the formation of talocalcaneal joint, or which is also known as subtalar joint, and calcaneocuboid joint. Here, from injury point of view, talocalcaneal joint is very important because this is the joint which is involved in movement, whereas the calcaneocuboid is not a very important joint because minimal movement is allowed at this joint. So, if any fracture reaches up to the subtalar joint, it has got potential to affect the movements occurring at the subtalar joint. So, from previous lecture, you can recollect that the inversion and eversion movements and some component of pronation and supination movements are occurring at the subtalar joint or talocalcaneal joint. So, if this joint is affected, it may affect those movements. So, keeping in mind the significance of this joint, fracture of the calcaneum can be divided as extra-articular fractures or intra-articular fractures. So, here in these radiographs, you can see the extra-articular fracture of the calcaneum. Here, fracture is present only in the tuberosity part of the calcaneum, and subtalar joint is completely spared. So, after healing of these fractures, there is a little possibility that these subtalar movements will be affected. Now, if you look at these radiographs, you can see that these are the intra-articular fractures of the calcaneum. Here the fracture is reaching up to the subtalar joint. Not only that these are intra-articular fractures, but they are also displaced. So you can say that these are displaced intra-articular fracture of the calcaneum. If these fractures are not anatomically reduced after healing, they will affect the subtalar movements. Now, before moving on to the investigation part, I would like to say a few words about clinical features. There is nothing very new in the clinical features part. Here you will get a history of the fall from height or from a road traffic accident. Thereafter, the foot will be swollen. There may be bruise around the calcaneum. The heel may look broad and visibly swollen. The surrounding soft tissue may be thick and grossly tender. Details of the lateral malleolus may be lacking, and one cannot move the subtalar joint. So these are the common clinical features associated with the calcaneum fractures. So after revising the clinical features of a fracture, now let us move on to the investigation part of the calcaneal fractures. Here, as you all know that the first and foremost investigation after trauma is X-ray. So as I have already discussed, the most common radiographic projection of calcaneum are first lateral view and second axial view. Now the third view, which is less commonly used or may not be used nowadays very much, is the Broaden's views. Broaden's views are used to visualize the subtalar joint. Since after the advent of the CT scan, these Broaden's views are not in much work. But for academic learning, you should know how to take these Broaden's views. Here patient is supine with knee slightly flexed and supported by sandbag. Foot rest on the film cassette with neutral dorsiflexion. Then entire lower leg and foot is internally rotated by 45 degrees. X-ray beam is directed towards the lateral malleolus and four films are obtained at 10, 20, 30 and 40 degree of cephalic tilt. Now CT scan can easily see the subtalar joint. So nowadays these Broaden's views are no more used. Now after X-rays, the next investigation is CT scan. CT scan can define the all facets of the injury, and it provides the very clear definition of the intra-articular fracture. So in calcaneal fracture, CT scan may be very much essential and 3D reconstruction views are even better. The coronal sections of the CT scan will show the fracture geometry very clearly enough to permit accurate diagnosis of all types of the fractures including the intra-articular fractures. Now coming to the treatment part of the calcaneal fractures, the most important point for the management of calcaneal fracture is skin and soft tissue care. One has to take a very good care of skin and soft tissue around the calcaneum, because if any necrosis of the skin results, calcaneum can be easily exposed. Thereafter, the healing of the calcaneal fracture becomes very complicated. So if any compounding is there, it should be optimally debrided. If any blebs are there, it should be optimally managed. So before moving to the fracture part, one should take very good and dedicated care of skin and soft tissue around calcaneum. Now coming to the fracture part, if any undisplaced fracture of the calcaneum is there, one should manage it by conservative means. That is, first slab so that the swelling subsides. After 7 to 10 days, a cast may be applied. One unwritten rule of thumb is that err towards the conservative treatment. So, as far as possible, try to manage the calcaneal fracture by conservative means. Here, X-ray is showing undisplaced extra-articular fracture of the calcaneum, and which is being managed by below knee slab, which you can see in the photograph. Now, if fracture is displaced, one should try to reduce it, and more so if it is intra-articular. So, after reduction, and the reduction can be achieved either by closed means. If it is not possible, then one has to do open reduction. So, after reducing the fracture, these fractures can be fixed with either K wires or screws or calcaneal plates, depending on the fracture configuration. Now, coming to the complications part of calcaneal fractures. So, the most common complications of calcaneal fractures are stiffness of subtalar and mid-tarsal joints and secondary post-traumatic osteoarthritis. So, one should manage the calcaneal fractures optimally so that it should reduce the complications. So, friends, this completes the calcaneum fracture part. So, go through the topic, read it nicely. If you have any queries, post it in the attached Google Forms. Though we are not taking the physical class because of the unfortunate times, please go through the online material, whatever available, and if any query, you know how to post the queries. Please complete the things on time and don't leave things for the 11th hour. So, thank you very much.